All right, we are back. Another BRAP, another OBS to YouTube stream. Seems like it's working all right. Yeah, this has actually worked out okay so far, considering that YouTube gave us the big FU and we had to figure out how to do the whole stream situation. But anyhow, I think we have it figured out. Um, but hey, welcome everyone to a special episode, special edition of BRAP Basement Radio OK podcast. We are live this beautiful Friday evening in August. Big shout out to KO steering the live chat. Says let's go. Yes, we are going live, and I got my man Gaming Forte with me right now. We'll have Slow Mo Backslap joining us shortly. Forte, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. Just been playing Destiny, trying to get my armor situation taken care of, which I finally got the Majestic armor now. Now I'm working on the second character. Took a break to play some Division. I'm grinding through that a little bit, and outside of that, just taking a break and breathing because, man, at work and playing the taxing and take some time for myself too. So that's what I basically been doing for like the last week and a half.
Oh my goodness, man!
And the Division.
What's up, Slow Mo?
You mustn't have been looking. Wasn't been looking.
I haven't been on my Xbox in a while.
Oh yeah, because you're a Switch kid now.
Switch kid. That sounds weird. I don't know.
I'm
what
a Switch kid
is.
now.
No, I've been yeah, man, I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. I finished it on my first playthrough with the Blue Lions. Loved it. Already started over, and I've chosen the Black Eagles now, which so far I don't like that much as I like the Blue Lions yet. I did the little mock battle that you do in the beginning, and I just felt really bad beating up on my old characters. So it's gonna get even worse as the game gets on. But it is what it is. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun.
I have a question for you, Slow Mo.
So,
of all the games you beat recently, like matter of fact, what are the games you recently beat? Like over the last 2 months?
the last 2 months. I'm keeping a list of the games I've beaten. Last 2 months, I've beaten Uncharted 4, Borderlands Game of the Year edition again, and wait, no, did Phoenix Journey come out within the last 2 months?
It sure did. Came out about it did.
That's about those four are the games that I've beaten.
Okay.
So far.
Okay, I was about to. Okay, so you dodged the nail because I was waiting for you to say a bunch of Switch titles, but you.
No, I haven't even finished Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah, I'm shocked you haven't finished that yet.
I haven't. I've barely played it since Fire Emblem came out, and I just didn't anticipate enjoying the game this much. But I thought I'll play it a little bit for a couple days, like it. Then go back to Ultimate Alliance 3, finish that, then go back to Fire Emblem. Nah, man, it's just been
Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it's just like, at the dashboard for the Switch, you see like all your recent games all close together in the front.
Yeah.
Simple Xbox. And I'm looking at both of them side by side, and I'm like, these games are exclusive to the Switch. I could not play these games anywhere else. And yeah, man, I mean, I look at Fire Emblem and I look at Ultimate Alliance 3, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe next time, because I'm playing Fire Emblem.
Game of the year so far?
Me, yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
I think it's not going to be Game of the Year, of course. Like, it's not. I think it's a game that should get a nomination. It should get that nod. To like, hey, look, you were that good. Here's a nod, kind of like Spider-Man, and what was that? Was it Assassin's Creed Odyssey nominated for Game of the Year last year too?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
See, like those games, those games aren't going to win. Nominate them because, like, you were really really good this year. But you're not going to win. But here's a nomination. This is something that you guys can all hang your hat on. And next time you're looking for a new a new position or a new company to go to, say, hey, look, you worked on a game that was nominated for Game of the Year in 2019 or 2018 or whatever. That's cool. So I think that's what Fire Emblem is going to be. It's definitely going to be RPG of the year.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess I'll say, while we're still talking about what you've been doing, I am very impressed with your last 3 videos you made, your Fire Emblems impressions. That was pretty amazing. Your Astro Chain breakdown video was still one. I got to give you some props, man. You got to be thinking about that Halo, and then it kind of got all soured with that crap news that happened today.
Right. Oh my gosh! Like
I was like, that video was just in time.
Like I was so ready to dismiss the rumor that came out, the new rumor because of who said it. But the fact that it's Jason Schreier that dropped it, I was like, damn.
Yeah. Yep.
It's true.
Nah, it's true.
It's accurate because Jason Schreier said it. Man.
Yeah, you can't.
So that really kind of blows. Man, if anyone hasn't seen my video, I'm not trying to do. Yeah, I'm doing a shameless plug. Check my video out.
Do it, man.
Do it. Hey, Slow-mo, seriously, man, plug it. It was a good video, man. I think a lot of people agree with you what you're saying about Halo needing being kind of like you talked about this for a long time on this podcast. Like it needs a fresh coat of paint, if you will.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing about it is that what is the part at the end where I was like, we need to, like, if you're going to continue Halo on, you need to continue Halo on for the next generation. Yeah. And us guys, we're always going to play Halo. We love it. That nostalgia is never going to go away. But they are a whole generation of gamers who only experience with Halo is Halo 4 and Halo Guardians. That's just not good enough for me. That shouldn't be good enough for any of the Halo fan. Like, these kids will never get the feeling of having Halo LAN parties. Never get the feeling just really playing a game nonstop all the time. And they get that from other games, but I'm sorry, but Fortnite just doesn't cut it. Like, it's just not, it doesn't have the depth of Halo. It's just not going to be anywhere near the same. Fortnite don't have no lore. They just got random skins of people doing dances they ripped off of actual real actors and artists out there. So I'm sorry. They need a true Halo for this generation. But in order to do that, you got to start adding, implementing elements of modern games that work in the modern game setting in order to make it work. And I just need the Halo community to be cool with that, so that 343 understands we're cool with that and they implement that stuff. But after this news came by, I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know.
I know, man. We'll talk about it.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. I do want to get to a quick topic, by the way. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat, by the way. Great seeing everyone here tonight joining us for this special edition of Brap. I do want to touch base, just kind of quickly get an update. Now, Forte, I'm really, I'm a fan of the Gear Special Edition Xbox One X console. So can we get an update, man? How is the console doing in terms of pre-orders, man?
It's still doing pretty good. I haven't worked in the last 2 days, so I don't know where it's officially at, but I know when I left work on Wednesday, we were sitting at about 70, I think it was like 78 or 79, somewhere around there. I know we were right close to 80 because I'm in a tug of war with another store that was like 7 behind me, and they had just crossed over. Oh my goodness. They had just crossed over 70, and they're right up the street from me. And then the next store over by them was around 50 something. So just like in our little mile and a half, there's easily over 200 systems pre-ordered. But No, it slowed down a little bit. I mean, I think, naturally, because it's a $500 item and not everybody's going to upgrade their system and stuff. But I've been seeing a lot of trade-ins of X's. I've seen a lot of trade-ins of S's going up to S's. I even seen a couple people trade in PlayStation 4 Pros just to do it. So it's kind of weird, but it is the thing. I mean, then we also know that those people are going to be getting PlayStation 5s next year, and a lot of them said that this system is going to be the system they keep, even if Xbox does come out with a system next year. The X is kind of all they need. They don't need to go to the next version of the system compared to how PlayStation has centered it. Those people are going to PlayStation 5 regardless. That's why they're fine with getting rid of their systems now, because Death Stranding isn't a game that really is interesting to them. They're just looking for Last of Us and whenever that release date comes. And so that's pretty much what the update on that system's been, but it's doing really good. I suspect by the end of the month, we should probably be close to 100. I don't think we'll go over 100, but I think we'll be close to it.
So is that good? Is that good for a custom console? Like if you compare it to other
just the system. Well, think about it. When Xbox One came out, my store only had 75, not 75. We had 175 pre-orders of the original Xbox, and PlayStation we had about 220. So I mean, that's more than half. I mean, it's more than half than what Xbox did when it initially came out. And it's almost like not quite as half of what PlayStation did. So, and that's when people were super ready to upgrade from 360. So I think that's a really, really good number. It's way higher than the Gears of War the S system was. The S system, I think, only had like 30 of those pre-order. It was a nice looking system. I guess it's just because it was a S, and Microsoft earlier that year released a 2 terabyte version of the One S2. So the people that wanted to upgrade for size did it then, and there was no reason for them to upgrade to a custom console and spend more money on that system. So it was kind of skewed. I know the God of War system did really, really well for us. We had about, I think I had about 68 of those pre-order, and that was in shorter time. I mean, actually, that was in a longer time because they announced that in February, and the game came out April 20th. So we had like 3 months to pre-order that system, and it only got up to like 60 or 70. Gears of War is already over 70, so. It also might come down to the fact that I think a lot of people that didn't have S's are finally stepping up. And I'm thinking that a lot of people that didn't have Xboxes and have PlayStations are finally finding a reason to jump over and play on to get an Xbox because Gears of War is starting to look really good to them. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And that's always the hill I always fight on, because there is such the disparity between systems is huge, and Sony definitely did the right thing when it came to talking about the games, talking about the base and everything. It's still a lot of people out there that either just bought a PlayStation and didn't buy an Xbox. And it's a lot of people like that. It's a lot of people that just have PlayStations. Most of us in the Xbox community have both. You go on Twitter, if I was to do a poll, I guarantee you about a good 60 to 70% of the people will vote they have both systems. You do the same thing for PlayStation, get a PlayStation guy to do it, I guarantee you it'll probably be the opposite way. And
we got to remember though, Twitter is not the most.
Well, I mean, it's not the most. It's not, but I'm saying, but that's also it's a lift. It's a lifted test of basically a smaller subsection of a smaller subsection.
I mean, like I said, according to NPD, only 26% of console owners own multiple consoles, and that's current gen right now. Yeah. So it's not, Yeah, I hear what you're saying though. Like it's a small.
But then you're thinking about 26% own both. But then when you think about the ones that own the 26% that own both, which one do you think they own? Which side you think is the Xbox gamer that owns a PlayStation or a PlayStation gamer that owns an Xbox? It's more of the Xbox. Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's more. That's why I always say it's more of the person that's diehard Xbox and just happens to have a PlayStation for the exclusive games that go over there. Whereas the PlayStation gamer they're hit or miss with it. Like, I'm a PlayStation gamer first and foremost, and Xbox has to give me a reason to get that system versus how some of us just go out and buy it just because we have the financial means or just because we like having everything, we like having the options and stuff. But that's where I think I'm starting to see this might be the first game that got a lot of people interested to want to get an X. And now that we're coming up towards the end of the generation, they're looking like, well, do I want to pay $500 for the next system, or do I want to jump in on this Gears of War or upgrade to my PC? And it really just comes down to how they actually think about it. But I think it's good. I think it's a really good number. And I will be surprised if it doesn't hit 100 because of the amount of people that's pre-ordered it so far. And once the reviews for the game start coming out, because I already seen how I as of right now, I have an allocation for over 100. Can't give the exact number that I know I'm going to get in my store. So I wouldn't be surprised if I sell out of all those the first weekend, at least when they come into the store.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting, man. It sounds like it's doing at least in your store. Again, I don't know. We don't know what other games.
Different in other places.
Yeah, we don't know what other GameStop stores are doing, but hey, man, it sounds good, man. I mean, it sounds like people are excited about it.
And just to say one more thing, you know, some people, and they don't realize this. If you said, well, on my GameStop, they said they only got like 15 of them.
Yeah,
it really comes down, and I'll be the first one to tell you, it really comes down to the type of store you are.
Okay.
My store is predominantly a PlayStation store, but I'm an Xbox person that runs the store. So I always give people the honest opinion of what they should and shouldn't do. Like, if someone asks me, I'll say, hey, if you want a good multiplayer experience, Xbox is still probably the best way to go. If you want that single player narrative driven experience, PlayStation is the best way to go. But ultimately, it really comes down to your friends and what you're going to be doing on the system. And when I tell them that, and then you tell them exactly, well, what's the difference in price? And then they hear that price difference and say, whoa, you know, well, I'm getting it for Call of Duty and stuff. And that's it. Well, just get an Xbox then, because that's on every damn thing. And then most of the time they do that, but it really comes, if your store is a PlayStation store, more than likely you're going to sell way more PlayStations than anything, unless you got somebody that's in there to kind of balance it out. And that's kind of how every store is. Like, the store down the street from me is a huge PlayStation store, and they barely take pre-orders on anything Xbox because no one talks about it.
Store a PlayStation or Xbox store? Is it the staff that kind of drives that, or is it just literally just the population that surrounds the store has more of a particular kind of gamer than another?
I would say a little bit of both, honestly. I think when it all comes down to it, it really comes down to the people that work there. If you are, I put it like this, most PlayStation people I know that are really big PlayStation gamers, they will say PlayStation is great above all. It doesn't matter, because they're cocky, because that's kind of the perception that Sony's given out over the last 2 generations, honestly. You know, PS2 has been this monster that sold 150 plus million. PlayStation 3 came back from the doldrums and passed Xbox, and now PlayStation 4 is over 100 million systems. So they have a reason to be cocky, and they feel like they're justified because most people play and prefer PlayStation. But then you have the Xbox people that are in the store, and they kind of talk a little bit more about what they enjoy about the system versus why you should get the system. Like that, I always talk about, this isn't the reason you should get the system. This is why I enjoy the system. And then when you're kind of relating it in that manner, people kind of respect it a little bit more, and they kind of follow your recommendations a little bit more. Not saying that they won't still get a PlayStation, because honestly, it really just comes down to their personal preference. If your friends are on a PlayStation, you kind of should get a PlayStation, unless you're not really playing in a multiplayer fashion like that. But then customers play a big role in that too, because as much as I can say my store is a PlayStation store and I kind of just break even somewhat with Xbox, it's probably more a Nintendo store than anything. I probably sell way more Nintendo product in my store than I do anything else. Just because over the last few
product, like you're selling drugs, man.
no, Nintendo products are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I traded in so many Switches for people to either upgrade to the bigger battery life or to upgrade. It depends on how you want to consider it, an upgrade or a downgrade, to go to the Switch Mini or the Switch Lite.
Yeah.
So it really just depends, but people are really doing that. And in my district in general is probably a Nintendo district more than anything. You know, we pretty much thrive on games like that. We just got Fire Emblem back in stock like 4 days ago. We've been out of it for like a week. Every time we get it, we sell out of it. And pretty much every Nintendo game flies off our shelves and stuff. And I think it's also the fact, I don't know, Eureka, the GameStop you go to, do they have the red wall up in their wall for Nintendo? Like the wall is red where the Nintendo stuff is. Like
yeah, they do. Like
Switch.
when you walk in, it's like the first wall on the right hand side.
Yep, and it's completely red behind it, right?
Yeah, and it's got like a ton of games. They still have Fire Emblem there. But let me ask you before, like I heard you say, like if you want to play multiplayer, you know, go play buy an Xbox. But I mean, I think at this point, like multiplayer for me, at least on both consoles, is kind of a moot point. To me, it's a matter of, you know, if you're thinking about multiplayer, it's more of where do your friends play?
Well, no, because the reason I say it's not a moot point, I mean, in the grand scheme of what game you're playing, it's kind of a moot point. But when it comes to just like perfect example, when I look at playing games online, I don't look at it just as multiplayer. I look at it as the community of people you're going to be playing with. If you're saying you're going to play online, you kind of want to play in a community of people that kind of thrive in that manner. Whereas PlayStation morely, even though they do have a big community because there's a lot of people over there, it's still not as focused on the multiplayer aspect like the Xbox side is. And if you aren't playing with particular friends, you're not going to get that same experience as you would get on an Xbox as you would with a PlayStation. Like I can tell somebody right now, jump on Xbox, and yes, it's a smaller player pool, but people are more hyper focused in the multiplayer aspects of the games they play because Microsoft is more focused in the multiplayer access of it, where, you know, they got LFG and stuff on the Xbox compared to PlayStation not having something like that. So you don't have to go to an external source to be able to find ways to play games with different people. But on PlayStation, it's more of a casual thing. People are pretty much in it just to play, like just to enjoy the game and leave it. It just depends on what kind of gamer you are. If you're a hardcore gamer, you love multiplayer, I always tell people Xbox is the place for you because I feel like hardcore is more hardcore than PlayStation, but that's only just because there's a lot of casual people that play more on PlayStation that kind of dilutes that number like very significantly versus Xbox.
I don't know about that.
I don't agree with that. I've played Destiny on PlayStation 4 and
I do too,
and had very similar experiences on Xbox. I wouldn't say that my experience on Xbox has been better than PS4, and I wouldn't say my experience on Call of Duty.
Oh, see, I wouldn't say my experience isn't. I'm just saying when you. Okay, so the fact that you.
I'm saying like my interaction with people. Like I have friends who play Destiny on PlayStation 4, right? But I'm just saying if I think about the multiplayer experience, I got to be honest with you. Like if last generation Forte, I would agree with you 110%. I think it was night and day. Because the Xbox Live was, you know, had a generational head start to PlayStation. But this console gen, I feel like they kind of have, I think from just a raw multiplayer perspective, pretty much on par. I mean, I can't say that I've had, like, and I played, you know, Call of Duty on both consoles. You know, I played Destiny on both consoles. And I can't say that my experience was better on one over the other.
The thing is, which system focuses more on that? If you're a multiplayer game, that's what it comes down.
That doesn't really matter.
That's what I'm saying. No, because if you take the player bases I feel are the same. Like I feel like it's probably a little bit more sweaty.
This is why I'm saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which company focuses on multiplayer more. When if people are still, regardless of which one gets more of a focus on in multiplayer games, they're still gravitating to the smaller amount. Now, I say that because there are older PlayStation exclusives like The Last of Us, like Uncharted, that have that multiplayer in those games have a community that's
well,
still playing the game.
Those games are above and beyond the best thing that they have. I mean, they're the only games that Sony brings out that people consistently play.
Can still find matches in those games very easily.
Yes, very easily.
I know people who are saying, like, up until recently with Gears 4, it wasn't like that.
Well, that was on Gears 4. Gears 4 on PC was
Halo,
like that.
with Halo Guardians is not like that much anymore either.
I can't say that because every time I jump on Halo, I'm always able to get a game.
I'm just saying, I'm able
to get a game. It takes a minute.
I'm only using the bigger. I'm using Call of Duty and Destiny because I feel like those are really, the bigger.
Well, Destiny was built on PlayStation, so
so like I wouldn't like I wouldn't say I can't say I could never like my opinion. I could never say that because like my GameStop, they asked me because I pre-ordered Call of Duty. They said to me which platform, and I go, oh well, and she goes, oh well, you probably want to go where your majority of your friends are going to play. I'm
right.
Okay. Well, that's hard too because I have friends that will play on both, but I got the PS4 version. Why? Because of the early access to beta on September 12th.
Right.
So that was kind of the what pushed me to pre-order that game on the PlayStation. But I gotta be honest with you, I don't think, and I haven't had a better or worse experience on either platform. I think this console generation, for me at least, they've been pretty similar, pretty much on par. I mean, outside of the streaming services and those things, or not streaming services, but like things like Game Pass.
Well, I don't even think I don't even think last generation it was terrible when it came to. I just think the infrastructure of PlayStation was pretty bad last generation.
Yeah,
but it was. But see, I don't even consider the infrastructure when I talk about like when it came to the individuals playing the games last generation. I think it's still the same. PlayStation, Xbox gamers aren't better than PlayStation gamers. There's just more fucking PlayStation gamers to beat up on. It just happen to not be as good as some Xbox people. But the player bases are still the fucking same, no matter where you go. I can go on Destiny right on, and we'll find this out in September. Well, actually, on the 21st, we'll find this out how that really shakes out. But ultimately, I just feel, and like I said, I don't ever tell nobody why they should get something. I tell them why I do it, and I just give them a recommendation. And like I said, it always comes down to why I do. Like, I just prefer the ecosystem of Xbox more than I do a PlayStation. But if my friends were all on PlayStation, I would be on PlayStation because people always laugh. It's like, well, why do you prefer Xbox? It's like, I mean, honestly, because my friends trump everything. At this point, they trump the games. They kind of trump they trump the system because ultimately you talk to those people 90% of the time while you're playing games. It really comes down to that. It's not like the beginning of 360 or original Xbox where we were sitting in the dashboard and couldn't even play games when we would just sit there for 6-7 hours and just talk to people. Now you can actually play the game and enjoy the same people that you were doing before, where that wasn't the case before. So it really just comes down to that. For me, it comes down to that. And it's going to be real interesting why when Destiny goes over, when everything switches over on PC, how that interaction, especially with me, is going to be going forward. Not playing in a group with people, I probably won't be on my Xbox. And I put up pictures of Gears of War, doing bench tests on my new graphics card that I got. And I'm just getting ready for this whole little switch over because it's going to be pretty disgusting. And but I just think infrastructure wise, they're the same. PlayStation's come a long, long way. I just think that it's more hyper focused in what they want to do on Xbox, but it doesn't mean PlayStation isn't right there. I mean, they're pretty much the fucking same at this point.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that, man. I definitely would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I pre-ordered. Oh, I pre-ordered. I can't believe I didn't pre-order this already. Borderlands 3 finally, man.
Man, look, man, I
finally?
I pre-ordered Borderlands 3 at its reveal back in, was that May or April?
Yeah, I got the $100 one with the
The season pack, but all the expansions already included.
Yeah, like you get like some armor pack, and then you get like I don't know what else you get. Some other stuff.
You get the golden gun pack where you can put the golden guns on any gun that you get up in the world.
There you go. That's what I got. Yeah. So I got that one.
I pre-ordered the Diamond Vault Hunter edition for $250 because I'm God.
Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that unboxing.
Oh yeah, that unboxing is coming.
Yeah. Hey, what do you guys think about Time Splitters? It's officially in the works now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But I'm like,
THQ Nordic has revealed that that one of the original series creators, Steve Ellis, has joined Deep Silver. So apparently it's going to be, and then the Nordics acquired the rights to create new Time Splitters. Like I be frank, I was never really a big fan of Time Splitters.
Either.
Yeah, but I guess there's definitely some fans out there of the game. So I think it's cool to see that the game is coming back. But me personally, I've never been a big fan of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Time Splitters either. So I mean, it's interesting that it's coming back. I'm pretty sure there are those that are excited for that. But
Yeah.
And for me, it's a okay. That's cool.
It's a love cold for me.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. But it's definitely like there's definitely people out there that want to or wanted to see this game come back. So, that's cool. I'm for that. I don't think I played. Jesus, I don't think I played Time Splitter since. Oh my God.
2006.
I think 2002 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's old, man.
Yeah, because I think that was an Xbox Live game. I
Xbox.
think on the OG Xbox, right?
It was.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It was a dinosaur before dinosaurs even got to the system.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Jurassic Park, the game, wasn't even released before that came out. That was a long time ago.
Yes. Oh my God, it's a long time ago.
Was Brute Force a thing then?
I don't think Brute Force came out just yet.
Yeah, man. Brute Force wasn't out yet. So that's
I don't think Brute Force ever became a thing.
Yeah,
I think
Brute Force.
Man, Brute Force had such freaking it had such an opportunity, but then they just let it all down.
Dude, is that CGI they showed us, man? I mean the alligator character and the girl sniping.
Yep.
Remember that? I was like, what?
I was like, this looks so cool.
Yeah, and then I bought the game. Terrible.
That was the first time I got hit with the okie doke by a developer. Yeah, you're just like, man, this game looks great. And then when they finally showed it again, the actual game, I was like, is something wrong with the picture or something? Like, I remember looking at the magazine, like, why is it so blurry?
It sucked.
Like, why is it so blurry?
It sucked, what is this? It sucked because it wasn't even Xbox Live compatible. Like you couldn't play with your friends.
Couldn't even play co-op.
Yeah,
you were at home with each other.
Yeah, you couldn't play co-op, but you were playing with 3 NPCs basically.
Oh, that's terrible. Bro.
Oh, it was terrible.
I played with some of my friends, couch co-op at that, and I mean, we tried our best to but we were all disappointed. It was just kind of like, yeah.
Slimo, that game deserves a sequel, right?
No.
Oh no, God, no.
Why not?
But why?
Play with fire. Let it stay dead. No resurrections for that.
It's got a foundation. Hey, what about Reckless? Do you guys remember Reckless?
I will agree with the soundtrack was pretty good in that game.
It was all right.
Brute Force. It was actually pretty good. But Slomo said something that really interests me. He said it was a game that gave him the okie doke. So what was the game so far in our gaming lives that was the biggest okie doke?
Anthem.
Ooh, Anthem.
Woohoo! Good God. He said he went to 2019 with it.
You don't even hesitate. He said Anthem.
He did hesitate.
Slomo, you didn't even hesitate, man.
Whatsoever. Anthem.
Anthem.
No game has done what Bioware and EA did. They showed us.
Oh boy, here we go.
They lied so much at E3 2017. They showed us this bomb trailer and said, "This is Anthem." Developers working on the game was like, literally, I'm not even exaggerating. Game we're working on. We're not working on a loot shooter.
Oh my god.
What's that name? The name Anthem? They changed the name a
I-
week before
E3.
E3. Get the rights to the actual name they were going to use.
Oh my
So then, yeah, they literally were like, what is Anthem? That's not the game I work on.
Oh my god.
That is true.
Game. They didn't have the dude that just quit, Ben Irving. That guy waffled for like 3 or 4 years, and they had to get Mark Dara off of Dragon Age to basically push him aside, tell him to go sit down in the corner, and then have the Dragon Age team direct the Anthem team to push out something in a year in what was it, 18 months.
Okay, he might have changed my mind on my okie doke, but let me hear Enrique. Enrique, what's your?
Yeah,
There was no game.
What was my?
Yeah, there was no game.
Wait. No. They said the game was running on the Xbox One X.
Yeah, they did.
You know what? All right. So my okie doke.
How? You ain't got no game.
Yeah.
That thing was running on a PC.
Oh my goodness. Slow-mo is passionate about his hate toward, not his hate, but his disappointment towards Anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah. My okie doke was probably Halo 5. The campaign.
Oh man.
Yeah, I would say it's like more at least this console generation, I would say Halo 5, like with the whole marketing of Locke and Master Chief, and then Locke breaking Master Chief's visor. That would never happen. The fact that it broke lore so much, that's my okie doke this console gen.
Oh man. So
There's probably some other ones I can't remember, but
all right. So I almost tend to agree with Slow-Mo after his compelling speech on Anthem, and it's kind of funny because me and Mr. Slow-Mo here were the public defenders for this game for so long, and then we just had to let the cat out of the bag on that one. But man,
wait, I'm gonna go to live chat real quick. Sean Murray.
No, I can't. That's not an okie doke, man. That wasn't an okie doke.
You sure?
That wasn't an okie doke.
I don't know.
No, that wasn't an okie doke. That wasn't an okie doke. That was.
You know what?
That was an okie doke. I think.
It's gotta be No Man's Sky. My bad.
It can't be
that dude.
Man's
It was
Sky.
such a big okie doke. He disappeared. He went silent.
He lied so hard and so publicly. See, like EA and Bioware.
Slow-mo, he got so much hate. You remember?
Look,
did y'all actually go and look at those interviews for him and see how they pressed him about the multiplayer and how he kept saying that the game that's not, if you're in it for multiplayer, No Man's Sky is the game that is for you. He kept saying that, and then I think it was like the 5th interview he did, he finally just came on and said, yes, there will be multiplayer in the game. And then ever since he said that,
see, he should
have never said it because
and they did eventually put multiplayer in the game.
Was in there is about to be massive multiplayer now.
Well, now they got a VR.
I hear
the VR looks
people
fire.
play the game now say it's amazing, but regardless, stuff he said a little bit more than that.
Slow-mo,
stuff that just was not.
Well, how much of that's okay? But let's also put some context on how much of that stuff. How much of that stuff did he say? Because it's kind of hard for me to completely put all of it at his feet because Sony was kind of pushing behind all that too. But on top of that, he kept fighting against saying certain things were in game until the very last minute. And then all of a sudden, I think it was 3 weeks after he said that, that's when their studio flooded and they lost 90% of the work of their thing, and they had to finish and rebuild it all over again.
I mean, hold up. How the flood?
They said wait,
Slow-mo.
They said, and Sony came out, and both came out and said that they lost about 90% of the game in that flood.
Forte.
I don't believe that.
Hey, Forte.
There's lies and excuses.
Hey, Forte, I have a question for you.
Just saying. Yeah, what's up?
All right. When you mean the flood, you mean the flood from Halo?
No, man, the flood. That was the best. That was probably the best part of Halo, the flood.
What was the music in Halo that used to come out? It was some weird music. Remember?
Yeah, I can't remember that.
Remember they used to explode? They look like big chicken nuggets.
The what?
Yeah, the flood remind me of big chicken nuggets.
No, with legs?
Yeah, with legs. They used to make me hungry.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
If your studio was, I'm just looking at it from my IT perspective. That's really poor. Sure, that's really poor.
I mean,
Back,
how many people were building that game though at that moment? I mean, it wasn't like
you have to back up your data. You have to back up what you're working on, in case of things like that.
But
There's a fire that burns down your building. You back that stuff up to a cloud.
That's
you
a good
back
point,
it up.
Slow-mo.
But if it happens, Slow-mo, it still
all your
doesn't.
eggs in one basket, and now it's all gone.
If it still happens, though, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's negligent on the developer for not having those self-fail states in place. But if that did happen, and they lost years of development on that game, and they basically had to rush back and get as much back into the game as possible, it kind of just comes to the point where you just say, okay, maybe a lot of the stuff that they said was in the game probably just got blown the fuck up. And of course they're not going to come out and say that, they already said one thing, but they're not going to make an excuse for it no more. I mean, at that point, I guess you would just go radio silent and just build the game back from scratch, because Sony wasn't going to delay the game. They already put a date on it. They already marketed the shit out of it. And that game was going to release, and they had to get a working game out of the door. So I don't think it's an excuse for them, but I do look and say, like, why are we so hard on them, especially now when we look at where the game is now to where it was where it launched, especially knowing that did happen. But it still doesn't change the fact that it shouldn't have happened. They should have had those backups in place. But I'm tend to, understand, like, man, that was probably a bad break for them. And a lot of the stuff that he said probably was in the game, and it just had to get completely redone by the time the game launched.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, these companies could have made that same excuse. Hey, a flood happened, and all the stuff that we said was going to be in the game isn't there. How about you actually come out before the game comes out and tell people that, instead of waiting for the game to come out and for them to realize all the crap you've been saying was going to be in your game isn't there.
I agree. I just think
it doesn't. It sounds like something you just threw out there, like all the stuff that he was saying for months.
A lot of the stuff. Well, how many developers
try to get people to back off because he was getting death threats, which I don't agree with whatsoever. That's
right.
Terrible. If you are a person who sends death threats to these people, get a psychiatrist. You need help. But regardless of that,
shit.
He pretty much of the flames that he got, minus the death threat stuff. That he put his reputation on the line, and now forever he's going to be that guy that if the next game they make and he says it's going to have this, and this, people are going to look at him with a side eye like.
Well, I think the first mistake they did.
Real quick, guys. In fairness, they have
Sean Murray on a stage like that.
Yeah, in fairness,
they turned that game around. Bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in fairness, they have turned the game around, and they released a VR version now of the game, which apparently is pretty cool, from what I understand. So.
And I freely admit all that. I know that they've turned the game around, but it still doesn't change the fact that
I agree.
A lot of the stuff that they have now put in the game at launch, because they said it was going to be in there at launch, and we can't give them a pass on that when so many other games have said they were going to have certain things or disappointed at launch and then put stuff in later on, and no one wants to give them any credit for that. So.
Oh man, what shit? We live in the age of games not working when they first launch. So,
oh boy, yeah,
be a lot.
Yeah,
but you said what?
No, I was gonna say I wanted to transition to our big talk of the evening, but go ahead, Forte, finish your thought, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna say you guys both made excellent points on both those, especially the No Man's Skies. Like I disagree, but I can see where a lot of people fall on that. Mine's is, I was definitely going to say Brink, because Brink, that game was like, what the hell? It looks so awesome, and then it ended up being something completely different than I thought it was going to be. But this Anthem thing, man, kind of changed my mind, because this is what I think. what Brink did, they showed us CGI. They never showed us the game. So kind of we were at fault for believing that game was going to be something that we thought it was going to be, and it really wasn't, because we never saw gameplay of it until super late, and the game ended up being completely different than what we thought it was. The reason I kind of agree with Slow-Mo now is because Anthem, they actually showed us what technically was gameplay, and then completely flipped it on his head and said, "Nah, son, this ain't even a game you thought you was gonna play in that year. It was a completely different game 20 minutes before now." So, man, I have to agree with Slow-Mo on that. But that was a good conversation. I just was really interested on thinking like what y'all guys thought about that.
That's funny. It all started out of
Enrique, before you transition to the next topic, did you guys talk about, since we were talking about Anthem, have you guys mentioned at all about Ben Irving leaving? He's the creative director for Anthem, leaving BioWare completely.
No, we didn't talk about it, but I mean, I think that I mean, are you? I don't think anyone's surprised, man. That place sounds like a shithole right now. You know,
it is a shit.
Yeah. Hey, big shout out. I got to pay the bills real quick. Big shout out to Eshan Rashid with the $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, man. It says Enrique is the man. I appreciate it. My panel are the men too. I want to throw that in there. So, but no, Slow-Mo. I mean, I'm worried about Dragon Age, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not so much because so
I'm worried, dude. I don't know, man. That place sounds like
this is why I'm not worried so much, because Mark
like
Dara,
Nate said, he left a train wreck, man. I'm worried. Like seriously, man. Like
he caused the train wreck.
Yeah, he kind of caused the chain wreck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that
he may cause it, but he left it. I mean, so it's not good either.
But he's not in the company anymore. Like this is where I would say I'd be concerned about Dragon Age 4. As a creative director for Dragon Age 4, that will concern me. I'm like, whoa, why do that? That's dumb. That's dumb. Like when the guy that was creative director over Final Fantasy 15 got put on as creative director over Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Why are you doing that? You replaced them because you couldn't get the job done. Why are you repeating your own mistakes? 343, allowing the same creative director, the dude who just left, Longo, this dude, creative director over Halo Guardians. Why did you let him still be creative director over Halo Infinite? Why are you continuing to make the same stupid mistakes? This here, one, if you go by the Jason Schreier article with Anthem, Ben Irving really ain't been the creative director for Anthem for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. Yep.
Mark Dara came in and unofficially took over the whole job
because the project needed to be saved.
Exactly. That game would have never released if it wasn't for Mark Dara and the Dragon Age team. Once the game released, they went back to making Dragon Age. Ben Irving has been in charge of everything. And what did we have? We had a roadmap that got thrown out the window. First part of the roadmap, which was supposed to take 3 months to come out, just came out, what, last week? This week?
This week, I thought. This week, yeah. This
week.
It
came out this week, earlier this
week. Yeah. He got the one part of that actually released, and then he bounced. This is good for Anthem. This is good for Dragon Age. This is good for BioWare as a whole. You need to get rid of people who are clearly not qualified for the positions that they're in. I'm not saying I don't know Ben Irving. I'm not saying the dude's a horrible person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying he's bad at his job.
He's basically saying he's incompetent, basically.
More or less.
I'm not trying to say he's incompetent.
That's more or less he says incompetent.
I'm just saying that he couldn't do the job of creative director. Like, there's some people that just can't manage people. You know, you're someone that, like, I see it all the time. People who work with me, they're great at coding and programming. And then they get into a manager role and they don't know how to deal with people. Some people just don't have that skill set. This dude does not have that skill set. Clearly, so he needs to go back to just being being a programmer or a game designer somewhere, whatever the heck else he was doing before. Creative director role ever again. Just like, you need to just stay away from that and stop ruining games, please. So, like, I don't see this as a bad thing. What I would say is a bad thing is if people were still coming out saying the same work environment that Bioware has continued, okay, this is a problem. I'm afraid for Dragon Age 4 but instead, I've seen things like Casey Huss is saying they are implementing post-production period to get rid of bugs before games come out. That's a great idea, I think. I mean, that's what we see the better publishers and better developers out here like Rockstar and Naughty Dog do. They go through a post-production process for their games before launch for a full year. Do that. But like this dude leaving, I'm cool with that. Wherever you go, good luck.
Yeah,
good luck with that.
I
Just
don't know,
land
man.
at any of the studios that I like.
Yeah, I don't know, Slow-Mo. I'm still a little worried, man. But we'll see, man. I mean, maybe it's not all bad. I mean, Casey's there, so we'll see what happens, man. And the post production stuff. I mean, obviously, like in the Jason Schreier article, they did address and mention that they're addressing some of the issues that have been plaguing Bioware. So let's hope that they've kind of nipped this in the bud. But hey, Anthem's still the fourth best-selling game according to NPD so far for 2019. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Guess
I think that's what saved their studio.
Probably, man. I think
so
you're probably
well
right.
initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to get to the story, guys. Kotaku, Jason Schreier today dropped a pretty big news story, big development as it relates to the next Halo game, Halo Infinite, which is supposed to release next year, 2020. Supposed to release on both the Xbox One console and Microsoft's new console, Xbox Scarlet. And as Forte has said, it's going to take him to NPD for November, December, I think. Is that? We're not going to talk about it again, but I just want to make sure that's.
We're not gonna.
That was a prediction, right?
That prediction took a huge hit today.
Hey, we try to tell you, Slow-Mo, Forte.
Hey, look, man, I still got receipts. You can't bet. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I'm not backing off of my stance, god dang it. But you know what? There will be an asterisk next to this.
Here we go. Excuses already, Slow-Mo. You hear that?
Look, man, nobody knew that the creative director was going to literally. Nobody knew that.
He did it more than he just literally bounced. If you look at what Jason Schreier wrote, it looks like he was either demoted.
He was demoted.
He was demoted and bounced.
And then he was demoted a couple weeks prior to leaving. He's like, all right, I'm demoted and now I'm out. And so he was the creative director for Halo 5. And I mean,
well,
this isn't okay. So this isn't good. I'm not saying that Halo is doom and gloom. I'm not saying that because I know people.
Yo. Cheeto May said they tried to make dude clean toilets. He wasn't having it.
Yeah, he's like, no, sir, I'm not cleaning toilets. I'm not saying it's doom and gloom because I know that we're gonna have some people in the live chat. Oh, they're gonna on the live chat. I mean the comment section after the show. They're gonna say that we're negative and Forte. The fans love you, man. They love you. They love that you're very positive with Xbox. Although I got to say, Slow-Mo, your comment to that was kind of funny. They're like, oh, I guess they missed the episode when Forte was telling people to build a PC. Anyhow. What's that, Forte?
Yeah, that's all right. Well, I'll continue working on that. I'll just continue on with it. So essentially, if you guys listening haven't heard the story, Jason Schreier came out with an article talking about how Infinite and being developed by 343 Industries, their creative director, dude's name is Tim Longo. He is gone. He was demoted a couple weeks ago. Then he left. I'm thinking the way that looks, and I've seen that before in companies, you get demoted and you immediately start going on Indeed and LinkedIn and whatever else looking for a new job.
Yep.
And he got his new position and he bounced, which is fine. Good for him. I'm glad he is taken care of, so on and so on. But about this because it's not just Longo. The person that was heading up the team lead that was heading up the campaign got replaced too.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary to me. I love that. The campaign was the issue with Guardians, and now you have you replacing the team lead. Look, this guy. I don't want to see this become another Anthem. Placing leadership years before launch, and now you trying to rush and try to get stuff done. That's how mistakes get made, and you know they can't delay this game for the launch of the Scarlet, so it's not going to get delayed.
I mean, man, unfortunately, they can't delay it, but they should.
No, but should they? I mean, this game is a year away from release.
Well, we don't. But see, this is the thing. This might be part of the reason we didn't see anything outside of a cutscene at E3. The game might have been in such a state where they just couldn't. They would have got more questions than answers if they would have probably showed something at E3 as a vertical slice or something like that. So that might be the reason why we didn't get anything there. But
I don't think we got anything there because Phil don't like showing anything.
Well, that might be, yeah. But it's the game. But think about it. I think if he had a gold mine, I think he would. I just think. See, this makes me have to just read.
That's not a good thing. If Halo Infinite is not a gold mine, that's a problem.
I don't think it's gonna be this right here. It stinks of everything that happened with Anthem. It stinks of what happened with Destiny. It stinks what happened with Division. Dude. We've seen this way too fucking much over this generation. Like heads of studios and creative directors switching jobs and getting demoted and leaving the company. This happened with Destiny and Destiny 1. That's why they had to exodized everybody that was a part of that initial dev team and had to give it a singular voice like Luke Smith that has to come out and do all the shit for the game now. It's like, dude, how did that turn out? How did that turn out for Destiny 1? Story, really, really shallow initial base. Exactly, because they had to rebuild the game. They literally had a script. I forget his name, Jason, the writer for the original for Halo. They had the script and they didn't like it. And this was a year before Destiny came out. Had to go back and scrap it, redo the story, and retell it. It was a disaster, bro. It was a disaster. Just enough said on that. It was terrible. And it doesn't look like in this is like the same thing. And we don't know everything, but like you said, they replaced the campaign manager. The creative director of the whole freaking franchise is not the franchise, but of the last 2 games isn't there anymore. I'm sorry, man.
Hey, let me ask you guys something. Does the campaign manager being gone, does that kind of worry you guys about the direction of the campaign?
I mean, it's the whole direction of the campaign.
Yeah, but I mean,
the campaign manager was likely, and you know how like when there's infighting, when there is politicking in a company, people choose sides, and when someone loses, who are all with that person, they lose too. So I'm thinking the campaign team lead, when the creative director took a L, like, you out?
Yeah.
Man. Now, that person hasn't left the company. They got reassigned to a different part of the game. But that doesn't bode well for the campaign. That tells me that Bonnie Ross or someone else, maybe Matt Booty, were looking at this and like, this campaign.
They probably told they told them, they were like, hey, we need to fix this. We need to change that. And he probably told them, was like, well, that's going to take time. And they probably were like, we don't have time. If you can't do it, we will find someone else to do it.
But I want to point out something that One Bad Mother said in the chat, which I agree with. It kind of goes along with what we're saying, but it just kind of shows where we are right now. And Sticky Figure, we're talking about Halo Infinite. One One bad mother said, "I'd be happy about this announcement of total leadership change if there was 2 years of dev time.
Yes.
They need to do this. It just took too long to do it," which is exactly what I'm talking about. Like literally, this should have happened a year and a half ago. You shouldn't be in the. This is at the point where you're like,
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Now you're like trying to fix bugs. You know, like come on.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Slomo, but we also don't know the entire story. Like we don't know what ultimately led to this decision either. You know, so
True.
I mean, it's
a time where something like this happened prior to a game's release and the game launched well.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't give you an example. I don't think this is a death blow, but it doesn't look good. I'll say that it doesn't. Well,
that's the thing. What's a death blow to Halo though? What's a death blow to Halo? I mean, Halo's already on shaky grounds. I mean, this game has to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a problem. Like
I don't know if it has to be perfect. I think it needs.
Well,
in my opinion, it needs to be better.
Well, no, what I'm saying, most people, in my eyes, I enjoyed Halo 5. It had its issues. It wasn't a perfect game. I still enjoyed it. But Halo 5, when it comes to the mass outlook of what Halo is, this game cannot let people down, and especially when it comes to the single player. The fact if this was multiplayer, I think we could brush it kind of under the rug because you could kind of retool that stuff over the course of a year to get multiplayer where you want it to be. Plus, multiplayer wasn't the problem in Halo 5. The problem was campaign. And now you're telling us within a year away from development, a year from release, we're switching our campaign manager and our creative director of the game is no longer in position no more. Meaning, like Slomo said, if 40% of the people making that content were on their side, what about those? How do those 40% of those people feel now? Because they just lost like everybody else did.
See, like, that's kind of like the issue with 343 is that they haven't been able to put it all together yet.
Exactly.
Like with Halo 4, they had a good campaign. I enjoyed the campaign.
Oh, it was really
Halo
good.
4, but it had literally the worst multiplayer in the entire Halo series.
Yeah, the multiplayer was lacking in Halo 4.
Yeah, they were trying to be Call of Duty, and you're not Call of Duty, you're Halo. Be who you are. The same thing I've been saying about the Division and their identity crisis right now, but anyway. But then with Guardians, they
guys,
said,
real quick, I want to give a big shout out to B Money. What's up, B?
What's going on, fellas?
B, man, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm sorry I'm late. I just left my son's football fundraiser.
Hey, no need to apologize, man. That's more important than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, B,
talking about
but I'm here, man.
B, real quick, man. I want to get I'm really interested to get your opinion on the creative director of Halo Infinite leaving. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Man, it's kind of shocking. You know what I mean? They've kind of put some hype into what the next Halo is going to be. Develop a entire new engine for the game. And, they kind of left us with a kind of a cliffhanger on Halo 5. And they said that this was going to be basically a soft reboot, after they showed it at E3. To a lot of people. And I think, when you have a lot of change in leadership and a lot of change in direction of where they want to take the game, strongly will probably decide to, take their. And I think that's what's really going on here.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a disappointment because I think when you get this close to launching a game and someone of that stature, walks away from the project, it only starts to smell like trouble.
Yep, I agree. And the funny thing is, let me ask you this, B. How long do you think, knowing that this is something that just happened, how long do you think this has been a problem inside of 343? If you had to guess.
I would say at least over a year.
So why would Phil Spencer go out on the stage and give a release date for a game unless he just doesn't know the pulse of one of his biggest studios that happens to be the home of his best, the biggest franchise Microsoft owns? Why would you come out and put a release date on that game knowing that your studio has turmoil at the very top of it and decisions are still needing to be made about that?
I don't think Phil does that anymore.
See, that's
know
the thing. Like,
that's
I
the
think
thing. You would think
with the position that Phil is in anymore, you know what I mean? We don't hear about the, you know, per year of him, you know, visiting Rare or, you know, visiting 343 or checking in with the coalition like we used to. You know what I mean? He's in a totally different role now. So that all of that stuff has been passed down to Matt Booty. And
so.
even if you follow
So
Matt
Booty still ain't tell him about this situation at this studio and giving it. I don't think it's smart for you to give a release date on Halo because issues at the top.
Well, I mean, like, to be honest,
how many times have we seen Matt Booty come out and say
you
that he's visited Rare or he's visited,
right.
you know what I mean, these studios and, you know, saw progress in the game and, you know, he's excited for what's to come. Like, we don't see that.
Oh, well, yeah, there it is. Did Microsoft so oh man.
But look, doesn't this go back to what I was saying last week and the week before? Microsoft handles publishing now.
Yeah,
you handle your own business. They don't do none of that. We gonna come in and we gonna say you sit down and you are in charge now. We just gonna, you know, make sure you get the game out the door. No, that's all you.
Yeah. Hey guys, real quick.
Everything that Matt Booty said at the Game Informer interview, everything he said when they were talking about what are you doing with these studios? What are you doing with Obsidian? What are you doing with Ninja Theory? All he kept saying was, I've just asked them what they need and I give them what they need.
So real quick, guys.
That after you know, a lot of people took a lot of things and you know, some great quotes from that interview. But to me, it felt like they were, you know, Matt Booty was basically saying that he was more hands off, really involved in, you know, what's going on, you know, with these studios. They're basically just the ATM, you know what I mean? They and, you know, whatever that studio in particular needs, you know, they go to Microsoft and ask for, you know, their positive amount or all them out and they take what they need and they get the job done. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's going to be in the long run continue to operate that way.
Yeah. Hey guys, I want to real quick, guys. I want to go to live chat here real quick. Stickfigure says, "Who knows why he left? Could be for personal reasons. The game is nearly finished, so it will barely have any effect on the final product." What do you guys think of that comment?
I don't know if
was Destiny really finished or not.
I'm sorry, B-Money. Was Destiny?
What did you say, B-Money?
I said when the original Destiny came out, was it nearly finished or not?
No. Same thing I just said, bro. It was nowhere near finished.
Nowhere near finished. Neither was games like Fallout 4, 76. What else? What's that game? The Sailor game, Sea of Thieves.
Like a lot of people like to think that game development is done, advanced, and all they're doing is polishing and, you know, trying to get the game to go and, you know, the game, you know, has been readied and it's good to go. And it works. Like, look at Uncharted 4. It was not ready until like damn near released.
Until it went gold, like what, 3 weeks before the game launched.
Right. So like, and I talked to developers who were working on that game. Like, they were crunching their ass off to make sure that they got the game right, and it still wasn't, you know, to their standards. So like, it could be playable from start to finish, but that doesn't mean that the game is actually done.
Exactly.
When Steve Project Red said that Cyberpunk is playable from start to finish.
Yeah, well, they
said that over a year and a half ago, and the game still ain't out yet. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and B, real quick,
the game is finished.
B, real quick, regarding Cyberpunk, like, I've seen people say, "Oh, well, Cyberpunk lost its creative lead," you know, and no one, you know, talked about that. I mean, but I think that person left, you know, like 2 years prior to, I think, to that game actually releasing. I know we know it's coming out, you know, spring 2020.
We ain't even see a trailer for that game, a real trailer for the game yet when he left.
No, we haven't. Yeah, and that's kind of my point. Like, the game's a year away. That's why this raises eyebrows.
Right.
Go ahead, B.
I know. I was just saying that's a totally different situation. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even know. I mean, people who follow the game knew what Cyberpunk was going to be, but they had never shown any gameplay or anything like that. So, just living off the hype of the original trailer and what they thought the game could be. It's
Right.
more of a different situation. Like people know what Halo is going to be. You know, what I mean, they know kind of what to expect, and then they've been teasing the game for 2 years now.
Yep.
There's something that one bad mother said in the chat again. He said this 343 issue has been going on since the studio started. Just needs to get it right. Booty's approach makes sense with Schaefer, Nina, Christensen, Rod, Fargo, and Fergus, which is I agree with that. His approach, his hands-off approach, works great for guys like Fargo who have been doing this longer than Matt Booty. Fargo was running Interplay. What Tim Schafer with Double Fine. Schafer knows what he needs. He knows how to get a game ready and out the door. He doesn't need a firm hand. But these newer studios, like Compulsion, I would even say he can be hands off with the initiative, considering the guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy that was running Crystal Dynamics, his resume speaks for itself. He knows how to get a game out the door. Those guys are fine. It's like you have to brain and choose when to be firm and when a firm hand is no longer necessary. And with studios like Ninja Theory, who have proven they have the pedigree and can get the job done, you don't need to be a firm hand. Thank you, Daryl Gallagher. Daryl Gallagher doesn't need to be micromanaged. But some of these other studios who have released games that have been mediocre or poor quality, that you signed them up because you brought them in because you saw they had potential, they had talent. There was something there could mold into a great studio. But you actually have to do the molding. It's not going to happen on its own. And just leaving them to their own devices and just giving them a massive piggy bank to work with just means that you're going to have a shinier turd when the game comes out. Actually need to, it's almost kind of like how you are with your kids. And I don't I know everyone doesn't have kids, but I have with my children, I have kids where all I need to do is speak firmly with them, and and they understood that they messed up again. And then I got a knucklehead son who I gotta get a little bit more firm with him. You have to understand what's necessary for the situation. And just deciding we're just going to go a complete 180 in how we publish games, no longer be so firm, or you can't make what you wanted to make. Sorry, Bungie. Oh, we're not going to buy you. We're not going to give you resources, Bioware, so go get your own funding. Oh, you got bought up by EA. Whoops. Like that kind of stuff. They went a complete opposite direction from that. Now it's just, hey man, do whatever you want, dude. It's all hands on, it's all good, baby. That doesn't work for everyone. You can't just have one approach for everything.
Yeah.
This
That's
is
a good point,
is
Slomo.
ultimately on them.
Yeah, it's a good point, dude.
The situation to get where it is, and Bonnie Ross, she's got a long history too, but apparently she needed that firm hand. I'm not being sexist.
Yeah, you sound a little sexist there, man.
Oh my god! All right, I'm gonna need to change my name, Sexist Slow-Mo. But just know,
Slow-Mo.
but just like Matt Booty or Phil, whoever needed to walk in and say, "Wait a minute, like what's really going on here? Like, why is come in unannounced, come in, show up, and just sit in on a team meeting." Going on. Look at the body language of people. Like, come talk to me. Seriously. I ain't gonna fire nobody. I promise. Just talk to me about what's going on and how we can solve this issue. That needed to happen 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Real quick, Stick Figure actually brings up a good point, I think, too, where he says that, basically there was a transition, things were handed over to capable people. And I kind of I kind of think that that's probably what happened. I don't know because I'm not a 343. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that there's people there that are capable of kind of carrying the torch, if you will?
Yeah, but
But what's
600 dev studio. They gotta have somebody that's capable of carrying the torch. I mean, there's a lot of people there, but just like.
But when you let somebody like this go, it almost signals the change of a direction. And if you have a change in direction, that means the new person is coming in with a fresh new idea. And it's almost like akin to rewriting or reshooting parts of a movie. But now you're doing that with a person that was A, in control of the whole game, and B, a person that was control of the one part that you had the biggest problem with was campaign. So, I mean, we don't know what was wrong. Was it the animations or something in the campaign? Was it something with the VO in the campaign that they couldn't figure out? Was it just the story in general? We don't know what it was. It wasn't like the person that wrote the story was fired or anything like that. But really don't. Not yet. I mean, anything can happen from this discussion, but I'm being a person that went through this with a game, going through this with Destiny, went through all this, and saw how it literally took. I mean, Destiny's in year 5, about to be year 6, about to be year 6, and the game is finally getting to a point where you can see that there is a huge bright spot for the franchise. Halo don't have that type of. As much as I hate to say it, and I love Halo, it's my favorite franchise. Halo don't have that type of lifeline no more, man. People tend to like move on from games really, really quick, and if the game doesn't hit like it's supposed to, those people will just leave this game alone. And you definitely can't launch this game on PC and expect the PC fan base to stick with it if the offering isn't what they expect it to be. You know, Halo has this mythic thing about it when it comes to shooters, and even knowing it doesn't have anything to do with multiplayer per se, but I mean, the creative director has control of everything, so we don't know what part of the game was jacked up or anything like that. And like Slow-Mo said earlier, 343 has to put it together yet over any of the 2 games they made. It was like one was better than the other, then this was better than that, and we don't understand without knowing exactly what the issue was. With probably find more information out as Jason Schreier digs deeper, because he always finds out everything that's going on in these studios for some reason. I'm just a little worried because I know they're not going to delay this game, because they already put their stake in the ground for releasing with the next system, and they kind of need to launch. They need something for a reason for people to go out and buy the system.
We still are 16 months away, though.
We are 16 months away, but we've seen this with other games, and when
Big Shot, hey, but real quick, Big Shot, what's up, Boom, man? Glad you're doing this, man.
What's going on, gentlemen? I saw you were live still, so I figured I would just jump in for a minute or two.
No, man,
listen, it's funny. I just want to throw something out because I was listening to the show. First of all, anytime a creative director leaves, first of all, here's the thing. Okay, I'm looking at this as being my glass being half full, and maybe that's the way I look at things, and that's fine. Other people don't. That's okay too. This guy was the creative director for Halo 5, which I absolutely hated. Okay, I think he should have been dumped immediately.
I agree.
Okay, so him leaving the project, you know what? The one tear came and it dried on my cheek already. It's no big deal. They have someone that's stepping in, that's been with 343 for many, many years, that has been, I don't know whether she's been shadowing him or what her position compared to him was, but it's not like it's being, they pulled someone off the street to do it. And Jez Gordon made a comment on Twitter that was actually really an intelligent answer to all of the craziness that's going on. Oh my God, the sky is falling. Listen, there is room for concern, but the same thing happened. The creative director of Cyberpunk 2077 left the project midway through to go work at Blizzard, there wasn't a peep about it. There was not one peep. You know what I'm saying? Now I understand maybe I'm comparing apples to oranges and think, well, it's CD Projekt Red, and this is 343, and look what we've done and they've done. Halo 4 was fantastic. It's one of my favorite Halos. The multiplayer, not so much. They tried to make it like Call of Duty. I think everybody will agree. Halo 5, I absolutely loathed because even though I think Locke is an interesting character and everybody on his team, especially the guy Buck from Buck. ODST. I mean, come on, that's Buck, for crying out loud. That was amazing to be able to be playing with him.
It's really K7, but
the problem with Halo 5 is that I think they tried to do too much, and I think they tried to move in a direction that people didn't want to. People don't want a game. It's like the old funny commercials, like, "Oh, your peanut butter fell in my chocolate. How dare you?" You know what I'm saying? And I'm not sure if it would have been split, because I actually I'm not sure if anyone watched the Locke series, the live action series prior to the I thought it was fantastic, and and first of all, I like the dude as an actor. He was great as Luke Cage. He's great as Locke, but you cannot release a Halo game and give Chief 3 levels. It's just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? And, I got to be honest. Like I said, I understand everyone's got room for concern. Oh, my God, it's creative director. But that's not the only person steering the ship. That's one person. And I'm going to be honest. This is the same creative director that did 5 that I did not like at all. So him being gone, well, I'm, like I said earlier, I'm not too concerned about it. Now, I am going to say this. There is 16 this shit together, and really not. It's not 16 because they have to go gold and they have to press these discs and everything. I'm gonna say this: there is a significant and a ridiculous amount of pressure on 343 to deliver this game. That's what I'll end it with.
Yeah, and I agree with what you just said 100%. And I think the only difference is, and you just brought it up, the difference between Cyberpunk and this, that was like a 2 in that we didn't even know the game was going to even be third person at that. First person at that point. People thought third person, stuff like that. And we haven't seen any gameplay, and the game was still at that point almost 2.5, 3 years away. This is literally a calendar year away, and I don't think it's the death blow. I'm concerned, and I think that's what most people are, because I see another studio that makes another game that I am in love with go through this, and I saw how it took that studio to have to pull itself out of a situation like that, and they were building a more intricate game than Halo could be, unless Halo's going to be something that we don't know yet because they haven't really talked about everything. But I think I'm just concerned. I think it's still gonna, be what I hope I want it to be, but they should have did something like this earlier. That's why I even said earlier, I was like, why would they go on stage and give this game a release date knowing that this was an issue? And Slow-Mo just said earlier, he was like, they're not involved in the studio day to day like, they should be. They probably were a little blindsided by some of this stuff themselves when it comes to Matt Booty and Phil Spencer, because they don't talk to them on that level like they probably should be. And you would think somebody like Bonnie Ross would kind of be more of a person that they can just lean on, and anytime that they had issues like that, she will be able to go to them and say, hey, this is an issue. We need to definitely take care of this. So you probably don't want to release a release date for this game. And man, it just sucks in that regard for me. It's a year away. It's not. We don't know exactly what the problem with the game is. That's why we really can't say that it's a death blow for the game. And I wouldn't say if it was anyway. But ultimately, Halo, especially a campaign, that's the one thing that needs to be great. And hopefully they fix that over the course of the 16 months they got left.
I mean, listen, again, you actually brought up a really good point. No one knows exactly what this guy was doing. All I know is the report said that he was moved to a different position 3 weeks ago, right? And he obviously had sour grapes about being moved. Maybe he was demoted and they didn't use the word, because I read the article. I didn't see the word demoted. I saw that he was moved.
He was moved, yeah.
So
that sounds like a nice way of saying demoted.
Yeah, basically, it's a nice way of saying demoted. Look, I don't know what to say. I mean, I have faith in 343. I have faith in Bonnie Ross. I did not like I said, I don't know this creative director, and what do I know? He has more talent in this thumbnail than I have my whole body, probably. That's fine, you know. Am I concerned? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not actually that concerned. I think that the game is far along. The game is being made in the vision that they had. You know what? Now we don't know. See, that's the thing. We don't know what the vision is.
Exactly.
You know, right? That's the big problem. I think we're all, because we keep hearing these catchphrases, like in all of these interviews, you know, we're going back to, you know, combat evolved. You know, we're gonna bring it back to what made Halo great, and that Halo great is 1, 2, and all right. I mean, you know, you can throw Reach in there if you want, you know, because Reach was fantastic. But 1, 2, and 3 is, you know, that's the trilogy. That's what everyone remembers Halo for being, and you know, it is what it is. But no, we don't know what this is. Now we're all assuming it's going to be Destiny Light, or it's going to be, you know, a bit open world. You know, it's hard to really say where they are, because we don't know anything. We don't know where they, you know, how far along the game is deep into development, and you know, maybe there was maybe his direction that he wants to take the game in regards to the story, they started having problems with. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said earlier, they knew the reception, right? They knew the reception that 5 got. Why would you let this guy be there in that position? You know what I'm saying?
Earlier.
It's a bit of a head scratcher, because, you know, as many things as Microsoft has been doing right, you know, getting the studios, you know, fixing the hardware, you know, new system next year, services. But it's this, man, it's just shocking to me that, I mean, again, was this guy, was he partnered with somebody that was they were both overseeing, they had the same duties, and they were fighting, and they're like, you know, direction, or this is the way it should go. We don't know. I mean, we're never going to know.
Yeah.
And you know, that's also you know, the big problem here is we don't know if maybe he was in charge of Halo 5, and then when they started making Infinite, they were like, well, listen, you know, if 5 didn't kind of go that well, so we're going to have, instead of just being one person, maybe it's 3 people, maybe it's 2 people, I don't know. And he didn't like that, and he had sour grapes about it. And you know, again, it is a little late in the development, but if the game was coming out this year holiday, I would be like, yo, we are effing in big trouble. That's what there's so many months that could, you know, you can fix a story. You know what I'm saying? If his direction is not the direction that they were going on, there is a lot of time to readjust.
I think if it was coming out this year, people would be less worried.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I would be less worried.
Because the story's done,
that point,
basically.
Would be done. But now, when you throw it in somebody else's hands, and you gotta rewrite the story, all that voiceover needs to be redone, animations need to be redone. Like, that's a lot more work that needs to be done in a 12 to 14 month period to get the game prepped and ready to go.
It's called crunch.
Be presented. Yeah, you want to be presented at its best light. So get in there and get to work. And we know, like Enrique just said, there's no crunch at Microsoft Studios. So, I mean, that really puts a lot of pressure on them to get this tentpole franchise ready to go for the new console. So,
in regards to, this is enough time to fix whatever the issues are. We can go back to Destiny, when they completely threw away the story and tried to jumble together from what they had already done a story before Destiny 1 came out. That didn't go well. Talk about 18 months before launch for Anthem. They tried to put that together. That didn't go well.
They scrapped the story and everything, I think, like 7 months before release, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Something crazy
threw
like
it.
that.
Yeah. I don't know when the Cyberpunk 2077's creative director left, but
Been
yeah,
midway through
if
development.
way through is fine. If this was, and this is what we were saying earlier before you jumped on, Boom. If this was like a year and a half ago, this isn't a problem. This isn't an issue.
I agree.
Because it's early enough in development or mid development where you go, yeah. This isn't working out. Get him out of here before it becomes too late. But this story play out before where you make a big change late in the game and you're trying to crunch to make it work. It can work like say with Uncharted 4 when what is her name? I can't remember her name right now. But
Amy Hennig
got replaced by the Last of Us guys.
Neil Druckmann.
It worked out.
No, Druckmann.
To the most part, I enjoyed Uncharted 4. I think it's the second best one. I haven't finished Lost Legacy yet, but regardless, I think it worked out in that regard. But you're really pushing it at this point, and 343 is with them not being able to put together a complete Halo game. I don't think they are in a position to be. It's good that you got rid of them.
My question is why did it take this long?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It took too long to
Bonnie Ross is there. She's there every day.
You know what I'm
studio head.
I mean, it's this guy
like
obviously
all of that stuff needs to be recognized.
Yeah.
When you notice that Halo 5 wasn't you thought it was gonna do, then Bonnie Ross should have been got him up out of there.
Yeah, and again, this is the only thing that we don't know, and I mean, could it be an issue? Well, it's possible for sure, but again, they say the words creative director, but was it a partnership? You know what I'm saying? Like, was somebody, because you know, and you guys have seen this in like real life and business. Like, if you're on a project and your upper bosses feel that the project might be too big for you, they bring in someone with you, right? And it's a joint effort. Now, sometimes that does work, right? Because then the two people are like, yeah, you know what? I see your idea, you see mine. This is great. We're both traveling down the path together, and we're good. And some other times it doesn't work because obviously the one on the left has a different ideology than the one on the right. Now, could that have been what happened? And maybe there was this internal struggle. If in fact that's the truth, Bonnie Ross as the boss should have saw this and be like, you know what? This is how it's going to go. You're out. Because you did Halo 5 and it effing bombed. No one liked it. I mean, some people liked it. But again, I don't want to get on the hate train. I mean, obviously this has been the story that's been running rampant, and obviously everyone's like, "Oh my God, Halo's gonna suck now. It's gonna be terrible." I don't think it's gonna.
Speak your truth, Boom.
No, absolutely. Listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I mean, obviously, see, when things like this happen internally, as just a person who doesn't, the only business that I currently have is what I do for my YouTube channel. Right now, everyone that's worked with me before knows that the effort that goes into it is no nonsense. I'm up past midnight 3 times a week writing. I find stories that no one's talking about, and I put the pressure on myself to make sure that the content I'm putting out is top notch. And I look at it from a fan's point of view. If I was on the other end of the microphone of the speakers, this is what I want to hear. And when I see stuff like this happen at Microsoft, it really does make me wonder, who is the ship driving itself?
Well, Boom, it's would you agree it's the optics of everything, considering let's be real here. They haven't had the best track record this console gen in terms of first party Microsoft, Xbox.
No,
Studios.
you're right.
And so it's the optics of it all. I mean, if this was Sony or Nintendo, people might not be batting an eye here. But again, I'm not saying that the game is doomed. I think what I'm saying is that I think it's the optics of it, considering the issues that have kind of plagued, Xbox or Microsoft Studios. I think that's why people are kind of like side-eyeing stuff, and it's think it's unfortunate for Microsoft because, I mean, this could be something that maybe at the end of the day doesn't really impact the quality of the game, but I think it's just the optics.
You're right. Right. I mean, it's obviously the I mean, the game could look pretty, but if the story is shit, I mean, the story is shit. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, I really that one person cannot make a game. I really want to stress that. I understand, the words creative director is supposed to hold this ginormous weight. And to some extent it does. But here's the thing. Because I have so much faith in Bonnie Ross, because I understand that she understands how important this Halo reboot, because that's really what it is. People don't want to say that. I've heard people say, well, no, it's actually not. It's technically 6, but they're getting rid of the numbers. No, this is a rebirth of the franchise. This is what this is. So it has to be great. It has to be great. Why? Well, it's freaking Halo. That's the end of the story, and it's going to be a launch title for your next generation console. That's only happened one other time out of all the Halo games that have been out, and there's been quite a few of them. Only one other one has been a launch title, and that was Combat. So that drove pressure. I would not want to be in their shoes. Let me just say that. But I'm going to say the people that are in charge of 343 also understand the failings of 5. And I don't think anybody there wants to see disappointed Halo fans. So again, yes, the creative director sounds like sour grapes. He left, he was fired, whatever the situation is, he's no longer there. He worked on a Halo that I didn't like. A lot of people didn't like. So he's out of the picture. Now, what's going to happen with the story? Well, we don't know. I still want to believe that they all understand how important this is, not just for the Halo franchise. You see, that's the thing, holds so much weight that it's more than itself, if you know what I mean. It's not just the Halo franchise, it's the freaking brand, it's the platform. It's launching on a new platform, a rebirth of not only the Halo, but the brand that took it. You know what I'm saying? So there is a significant amount of, I mean, again, maybe because my glass is always half full, I'm looking at it from that. I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great Halo, even though this guy is gone.
Look, man, you bring a very good balance to the conversation, and I appreciate it. I mean, I always try to look positive in everyday thing. It's just, I think,
except when you tell people to build a PC instead of buying an Xbox Scarlet.
I even told. Well, wait, hold on.
Slow-mo, get those receipts.
Hey! Calm down. Keep those receipts. But guess what? Ultimately, the conversation is coming from where I feel about how I feel about the situation, and it doesn't do me any good that I went through this with a game before and it just sucks. I don't think the game is going to be screwed because I think it's far enough in development for it to be okay. But it just comes down to a situation where you put a lot of hope behind this Halo game. Like, I mean, I went on Twitter and actually said Halo's going to be the reason Xbox is going to make that comeback. So I'm kind of in my feelings right now about this whole situation. So that if I would have never said that, I'd probably been like, Halo will be all right. A little more worried about my prediction because I don't want to hear Slow-mo and Enrique in a year from now coming down, breathing down my neck about, what did you say? What do you say was gonna happen? So
anyway, but
but ultimately, I think it's gonna be fine. It's just you never want to see something like this happen, especially with one of your favorite franchises. And I never wanted to give Slow-mo credence on this conversation, but he's absolutely right. They need some type of management involved with these studios, man. They this right here lets me know the fact that they came out and released a release date for this game, it lets me know that they are clueless what's happening at 343 at the executive level at the top of Microsoft of the Xbox division. Because if they knew this, I don't think the game would have got. They probably still could have released the game at the same time. I just don't think we would have knew when that date was going to be until they were ready to announce that date. So it's gonna be fine though, I guess.
Forte, I want to go to live chat real quick, man, because I really think OBM, One Bad Mother, actually I think really brought up a great point here. I think which is kind of fascinating considering what I think has been a successful brand that no one gave a chance in 2001. One Bad Mother says Xbox deserves to be under the microscope. The microscope shows that Nadella wasn't sure about gaming until late 2017, and that Microsoft was providing resources now, still in transition. And to even read that, like that statement to me blows my mind, considering my opinion, my perception is the original Xbox I thought was a success. It outsold the GameCube, had no business doing that, had a tremendous amount of support from developers and getting exclusives, and then we all know about the success of the 360. So to hear OBM say that, One Bad Mother say that, it's kind of like, wow, wait a minute, like that's crazy to even think it like that, and it's just, there's a lot riding on this game, I think, more than I think probably what people realize. I don't know if it was you, Forte, or Boom, who said that, the brand is kind of riding on the success with the launch of Scarlet. I mean, if this game doesn't do well, and I'm not saying it's not going to, we don't know, I'm just speculating here. The game doesn't do well, that's a potential blow maybe for the Scarlet launch, maybe potentially. Well,
I mean, listen, it's gonna be in the spotlight, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, from what we can gather, right? This is just completely my speculation, so don't take this with a grain of salt. How I see their launch lineup for me, and this is what I'm thinking, is we got Halo as a confirmation. We know that Motorsport 8 is going to be a showpiece that's going to launch with the Scarlet. I'm still calling Killer Instinct 2 as a launch title the same way it was for the original Xbox One, and I'm in a firm belief. Again, I could be wrong, and that's wrong. That's not a problem. Again, this is what we do on these shows. We talk about stuff. I'm not putting my pole in the sand. I still think that we're going to get Ninja Theory's other game that they're working on right now as to be a launch title, or at least in that launch window.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I could definitely see that. So it's definitely interesting. This news broke late this afternoon. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" I thought it was going to be a slower news week. So, but gentlemen, I do need to. We need to wrap up. I have to get up early tomorrow morning at 5:30.
No, not a problem.
Not looking forward to that. But I wanted to get to Gamescom. But I don't think we're going to have time to touch Gamescom. It starts officially. I guess the official kickoff is on Monday.
It's Monday. It's actually weird times. Actually, everyone's going one after another. What's funny? Hold on, I got the exact listing. I'll tell you exactly when everyone's going. Just give me 1 second.
I'm waiting to see the future of gaming, Stadia.
Okay, so this is how it's going to go. Gamescom 2019, the conference times. It's going to start with Inside Xbox. That's the Inside Xbox conference. At CES time is 6 p.m. UK time is 5 p.m. Eastern. It's going to start at 12 here on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. Right. That's for Xbox. And right after that is the Stadia, Google Stadia Connect event, and then directly right after that is the opening night live. And that's going to be 2 p.m. New York time, 8 p.m. Central time. In Europe, it's going to be 7 p.m. and in the West Coast is going to be 11 a.m. So it's, I'm doing a show at 8 that night. Thing, it's gonna be a lot. I know that Xbox said they had 3 big announcements. That and that's not counting the one that's going to be on Jeff Keighley's stage.
I'm looking forward to see what they were talking about when they actually Well, Phil Spencer tweeted out about Destiny and what they're going to be showing for Shadowkeep there. I'm like,
Yeah, well, they got the mark. They were hearing that they got the mark for for the expansion, which is shocking.
That's huge. If they got the marketing right for the expansion, that's actually a nice.
Yeah, because there was when they separated from away from Activision, when they announced that, Phil Spencer was the first one to tweet out and said, "I can't wait to work with my friends at Bungie on what we got coming." So we knew something was coming, but when he tweeted out today, Bungie actually retweeted it literally like 2 minutes later, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's something really going on."
I've heard through the grapevine that they do in fact have the marketing rights.
That's awesome.
Which is a big deal. That's a big deal for Xbox because obviously it's been. Now I don't think Phil's not going to pull. Hey, you can't get this exclusive scarf.
Well, they already said exclusivity stuff is gone.
Yeah, that was something that was done part of the from the marketing deal with Sony and Activision. Bungie had no say in the matter, from what I understand.
Yeah,
I'm actually really more excited for a lot of the indie games that are going to be showing at Gamescom, like
for that Switch.
Just indie games in general.
Oh no! Don't do that
for the Switch.
For the Switch.
I'm talking about games like Disintegration
for the Switch.
By V1 Interactive.
Switch.
Give me all the new IP.
We're going to show gameplay.
I'm looking forward to all the new IP.
Yeah,
as long as they're showing something new, that's all I care about. And talking about looks very interesting. It's from some of the Halo Godfather, so I'm definitely
if you don't know what he's talking about, go check out Slow-Mo's video on Disintegration.
Mm-hmm.
It was a amazing video and a good look at what that man has coming down the pipeline.
Slow-Mo, that was actually a great video and it piqued my interest. The Edge, the Edge magazine cover with that game on is actually pretty good looking cover.
I just want to throw something out real quick before you guys go.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been playing a game that's on Game Pass that I have 40, maybe 50 hours. I know Slow-Mo, you like turn-based RPGs. My God, Battle Chasers, Night War.
Oh, yeah, I've been playing it.
Amazing, dude. I just hit level 24, I think.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Art direction, the art in that game was created by Joe Madureira, who used to pencil X-Men back in the day.
Really?
A legend in as far as comic artists go. His artwork is amazing. Yeah. Battle Chasers is Battle Chasers. When I was on vacation a couple months ago on a train for 17 hours, it was Battle Chasers that kept me from losing my mind on playing it on my Switch. So, Battle Chasers is awesome,
dude. It's
a good game.
It's an old school turn-based RPG, and then the perspective when you're walking around is like Diablo. It's amazing.
Nice. Yeah, I have to check that out. Yeah. So, we didn't get to Gamescom, but it is the 19th. For those in the live chat or anyone just joined, maybe this Boom's gonna have a special podcast 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday on his channel Double Barrel Gaming, so definitely check that out. And I may do a rant in the afternoon during my lunch break, talking about some of the things that have come out of Gamescom at that point in the afternoon. Guys, I just want to say thank you guys for joining me here this Friday evening. We typically don't podcast on Friday nights, but Boom, I want to say thank you, man, for coming through. I know it was kind of like at the 11th hour. I was like, hey, man, do you think you can make it? So I appreciate it, bro.
The missus came home. She was exhausted. We were watching a movie. She fell asleep, and she went in the room. And then I saw you guys live. I was like, at least half an hour, 40 minutes, something. So it's always great to work with you guys. I always have a lot of fun.
No, likewise, man. We always enjoy having you on. So, man, definitely thank you again. And, dude, you got to plug your show again, man. Let everyone know what you got coming up this week, man.
Well, listen, obviously, most people that I see in the chat, as a nice number of people here late on a Friday night, it's Double Barrel Gaming on YouTube. I actually just launched channel memberships. I got approved. by YouTube to do that. Which it's funny because they've been sending me emails for about 4 weeks, and I just kind of been not paying attention to them because I didn't want to over monetize the channel. Like it's I don't want to be gross about stuff, but I want to do giveaways, and I just can't do it without having a little money on the back end, but so that's why I talked to a few people that have been doing it that I respect in the industry, and they were like, yeah, it's something that's good. You can pay it forward, with the community. You get that money in, and you can turn it around, to digital games, digital gift cards. So if you're interested in checking out Double Barrel Gaming, I put out tons and tons of content, lots of live content. Of course, on Twitter, it's at Mr. Boomstick XL. I think I'm just about to cross 3,500 followers, which is ridiculous. I cannot believe how many people follow me. And yeah, it's been great, man. It was great to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, man, definitely, man. Likewise. Thank you again, Boom, and definitely appreciate it, man. So, big shout out to B Money B, man. Thanks for hopping in tonight, man. Definitely appreciate the time, man. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, man, you can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101.
All right, man.
Back on to podcast this Saturday, so definitely come check us out tomorrow at 10:30.
I need to turn in. I'm so tired. I need to tune in to Tick tomorrow, man. I'm interested to see what Cal has to say about this news, man. So you guys go live. You said 10 o'clock, right?
10:30.
10:30. Gotcha. All right. Forte. We know. I think people know where they can find you at. I think.
Oh yeah, they should be able to at this point. No, yeah, Gaming Forte, Twitter, YouTube, all those nice places. I will be on that show with Mr. Boomstick going forward on every Monday, so I'm really looking forward to that one. And definitely, really appreciate all the love on the channel over the last week. I gained like another 25 subs over the last week just off that one video, so I really appreciate the love and affection there. And I'm working on a Halo video now, so that should be up first thing in the morning. So other than that, just check me out at those sleeks, and I can't wait to the podcast with Boone.
Sweet. All right. And the man, the lover of women, Mr. Honey Love himself.
the man who feels I aspire to be like one day.
Oh, stop it. Y'all
See, I graduated from making the videos for him. Now his videos are better than mine.
Wow.
Here he go again. Yeah, y'all too much.
Every week, man. He's like, "Oh,
you deserve it, man. You deserve it, man." So, all that hard.
So, slow mo love slap. Where can people find you, man?
Did you change it to love slap?
Oh, yo, that. Hold on, wait, let me change my nickname real quick. Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter, the same name, but also my new YouTube channel that the guys are heaping a lot of praise for me. I appreciate it, guys. My YouTube channel is a little different from what you may see in this community. It's more focused on, it doesn't matter what platform, if it's a new game, if it looks like it has a lot of potential, I feature it. I talk about the dev. I talk about what kind of engine they're using, any kind of information that I can scrounge up. I do my research. I put the game out there, talk about it. So I do that, and I also talk about other games I'm currently playing. So my channel is I think it's doing good so far. I'm having fun.
I like your videos, dude. The production is there. I enjoy listening to what you have to say.
Exactly.
That's the kind of feedback I like to hear. Thank you. From Boom. Boom is he's doing this thing. So I'm like, if Boom likes it, then I know I'm doing something right. So listen, yeah.
Everyone, when I tell you, I jumped into this heels into the wind, and when you love something. And you're passionate about, and that's why I do the videos, man. That's why I spend so much time writing this material, and the work that when you talk about a game, so when you can hear it in your voice, that you're excited about the game, and that's what people want. That's what people want. They're going to tune in and click on your video because you're talking about a game that they might be excited about. So when you're excited, they're excited, and there goes a view.
And I got a lot of stuff in the pipeline too. I just like I'm not putting them out there quite yet. It's just like I have written like lines for videos, and I'm man, I'm about to do the audio on this. I'm gonna get my game footage already. I'm about to, and I said, wait a minute, it's not the right time. Wait on that. or there's some other ones I'm like, you know what, I'm about to go in on the topic, and I'm like, nah, I'll wait to a podcast to talk about this. It's this might be a little, I might get a little. I'm trying to keep my more PG-13 and less rated R. So sometimes some things I may want to say, I'm like, you know what? Go back. I just had to keep this for Brap or Scumcast. So.
Oh my goodness.
Well, Scumcast is raw, so you can talk crazy over there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Big shout out to the Ash and Luca, by the way. So,
absolutely.
All right, gentlemen. Hey, big shout out to everyone in the live chat, guys. Thank you again for joining us this evening, this Friday night. Definitely appreciate it. Everyone, please have a great weekend. Enjoy your time gaming. We'll see you next week. We'll be back. I got a regular scheduled time, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Although I may throw in a Brap rant in there in between, Gamescom and Wednesday when we go live. So, again, everyone, thank you. Much love. Appreciate the support. See you guys next week. Peace.
Take care, everybody.
Peace. That's what I'm playing right now.